Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
Hey guys, welcome to the show, Reza Riffs. I'm Keith Reza, the host, with my sidekick, Alan Lee.
The one and only Alan Lee. Good evening.
Alan, I think since people are listening to it,
Yeah.
they don't know what we look like, so I thought we'd describe ourselves. So you describe me, and then I'll describe you.
Okay, Keith has I don't want to say he looks like the kid from Two and a Half Men, but he looks like a little bit of an older version of that. But he looks a little bit like the kid from Two and a Half Men when his hair is...
So basically, I'm beautiful.
Yeah, he's blonde, he's beautiful, and that's as far as I go on that, as I am a heterosexual for the women out there. And I don't want any doubt to be put out.
All right. And then I want to describe you. You're a very beautiful blonde.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right on.
With big watermelons.
Ooh, man, that's... I just tried to clear that up, but go ahead.
Yes. And you're a transvestite.
Oh, see, I knew right away that the blue material.
Blue material.
Right away.
But this show is interesting because I want to bring in people that I admire about comedy
Thank you.
And stuff like that.
Thank you.
And it's going to be fun. We're going to talk. We're going to play games. And I think we have a very great guest.
I do indeed.
I mean, the first one, he's doing me a huge
he's doing
favor.
us a great favor.
And, we should just bring him up, you know what I mean?
What do you think?
Yeah, because I want to talk to him. I don't really want to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to talk to me. That's why we have the guest. But I don't want to wear the guest down.
No.
You might want to come back and,
Well, this guest is a big guest. He was in the movie Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
White Castle, yes.
Cinderella Man.
Yes.
John Q.
Yes.
His latest movie, Fred and Vinny, which was written by Fred Stoller. You know Fred.
Yes, he plays Vinny.
He plays Vinny.
He plays Vinny.
Fred plays Fred.
That's thanks for the memory jog.
But he's a great stand-up comedian, and I'd like to welcome. So please give it up for the one and the only Angelo Zogauskas.
Yeah. All
Did I
right.
screw up his name?
Tsarouchas.
He's going to kill me.
I got that right. I got it right.
Tsarouchas. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Angelo?
I like the way you're describing each other. The kid from Two and a Half Men
Sure.
and Rick Moranis here. I don't know what the
with
hell
watermelons.
you guys are talking
With
about.
watermelons.
With watermelons
That's
and a
strange.
transvestite. That means you're an actor in West Hollywood.
He is.
That's what you are.
I am actually, but
Good
not
to be
at
here,
West
guys. I'm
Hollywood.
happy to be. So I'm your first guest. I'm popping your cherry.
Man,
You
you're
are.
bursting it.
Well, see, I've known Angelo for about 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Great.
we're friends, but we're not like best friends. When I told Alan Angelo was going to be on, he's like, "Oh, how do you know him?" I was like, "Well, I met you at the Fred and Vinny premiere."
Fred and Vinny premiere with Fred Stoller.
We're Fred Stoller, and I'm a huge Fred Stoller fan.
Fred's great. You should get Fred on the show. He's a good guest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And but the thing, Fred and Vinny was an interesting movie. It was directed by Steve Scrovan, and we shot it in L.A. 2009, 2010, when nothing was being done here.
Yeah.
And Fred is an iconic comic character actor. You've seen him on every sitcom.
I have indeed. I know who he is.
And I met Keith, and then he says and then we had these gigs at some sports pub.
At Centerfield.
At Huntington
you
Beach.
did. I remember Centerfield.
Wait a minute. Was Angelo at the infamous Centerfields? Did he appear there? Well, thank you, sir. I'm sorry I missed that.
I remember that was my second show.
Wow, I didn't realize
He
that.
says,
Angelo.
"What are you doing?" I said, "Where's? I mean, I'm from Canada, so I've been living here for 8 years. So everybody's like, we're Huntington Beach. Yeah, it sounded like Burbank. And I'm driving, and I'm thinking, where the hell am I going here?
San Diego.
But pretty much close to Tijuana. Am I going down to Ensenada? What?
I remember Angelo, though. He brought like 4 or 5 openers, and he's like, "Oh," and I worked so hard promoting it, and it turns out there was only like 4 people in the audience. And Angelo says, "Can I bring some openers?" I was like, "Sure," because I want to make Angelo happy.
Sure.
So his openers go up, and everyone's starting to leave, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Angelo." He's like, "Oh no, it's my fault. I brought all the openers."
I brought all these guys. There's always the errant comedians. Who are like, I want to comedians need stage time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look, since I've been in L.A., and I've always said this before, when you talk about comics coming to L.A., regardless of what your status is, wherever you're from, when you come to Los Angeles, you're playing laundromats, bookstores,
Yeah.
center fields for the
Sure,
for the busboy and the chef.
Sure.
I don't know if they spoke English, but they were there.
Some do.
You know,
Not a lot of them.
and it's one of those things where it's one of those things where as a comic, the only way you get better as a comic is if you get on stage.
Exactly.
Yeah. And see, that's one of the things I really like about you. I mean, because I fell in love with you that night because there was nobody there that night. There's like 4 or 5 people, and you still did 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm an
Nice.
egomaniac, or I
no.
love the punishment. No, I just said, well, let's just do it. Let's just have fun.
Yeah.
And people did laugh.
Yeah, and it was, and that to me, you know, it was shocking because like, I know headliners who won't do that for 4 people. They'll just say, not worth it. And the fact that you did it like really touched me because, I mean, I've been doing comedy for a while, but it was my first, 2 shows running, producing, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And you did it, and
Well, you said come out and do the show. You don't know what you're going to get. Like, I've done shows for 31,000 people. I've done shows for 4.
yeah,
And all the world's a stage, right? Shakespeare.
Indeed.
Shakespeare.
And I don't know what the hell he was talking about. but I think at the end of the day, if I can even get one joke out of that, Keith,
yeah,
from going to Huntington Beach, that's one joke I didn't have before.
yeah,
And I think I wrote something because when you're sporadically playing for a small audience, you're going to take more chances.
Exactly.
It's like being in your kitchen at your house.
You put a little
And
salt.
everybody, you'll just start
garlic.
talking about things because it's not that you're not worried about the audience, but what you're really doing is saying, okay, we're here. You can bitch and complain about it, or we can have some fun.
yeah.
And I always try to look at the brighter side of things and just let's have fun.
And then another story is I got offered a road gig and they needed a headliner because the headliner was sick, and I called you. You weren't you weren't available to do it, but you talked to me and you gave me some names of some pretty good guys. And the fact is like when you have a celebrity's phone number, you don't want to like overcall them and stuff. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like we're friends and stuff. And Alan's like, how often do you talk to him? I was like, occasional birthday text now and then.
Or on Facebook. That's what's good about Facebook.
Yeah.
I love Facebook.
And you see, the thing, here's a unique relationship, Keith, you're going to find out about comedians, is that there's a lot of guys, I may see you 3 times in 1 week, and I may not see you for 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. I just did Just for Laughs festival in Montreal, which is like the biggest comedy festival in the world. Yeah. And it's amazing. They were doing a podcast, and there was like Robert Kelly and Alonzo Bowden and Neil Brennan and Ange, and they were having this argument about something, and I just went by. I didn't know they were doing a podcast. It was at the Hyatt in Montreal, and I went by. Hey, there was an empty chair. Sit down. We have this issue, and then you got into it. And these are guys that I won't say they're friends in the comedy world. There's some guys that you're closer with.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's like when you see each other. And that's the nice thing about doing a festival.
It's like a brotherhood.
It's like a brotherhood for the most part. But I will. It depends where you're working. Like if I'm at the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store.
The Laugh Factory. I remember I auditioned for the Laugh Factory and I passed and I called you. Do you remember this?
Right, I remember this.
I called
there.
you and I was like,
that was
Jamie
great.
passed me.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. And then I never got the second date. And it's been like 3 years. And
3 years later, it's like, yeah, okay, buddy, you'll pass, but I don't know when you're coming back.
Exactly. So,
Very good impression. Very good impression.
Jamie, I love Jamie.
yeah.
And it's like, it's look, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think it's great. This is I love this LA Talk Radio. Reza Bites, what's it called? You said
Razor Riffs.
Razor Riffs.
Yeah.
Sounds like a stripper or a porn star
It's
or a wrestler.
he loves those
Razor
images.
Riffs.
He loves those images.
Razor Riffs and Dick Steele.
Yeah.
But no, the thing is that I think it's a tough game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Comedy's a tough game,
it
and
is.
people always want advice, and the best advice I give people, from my experience, is just do it.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
You got to do
Which
it,
is
and then,
what
like
I'm
I
trying
said,
to
it's
do.
the Huntington Beaches.
Yeah.
It's sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example. We did. I was in New York, and I did this show. It was like the Hudson Theater. It's probably about 2,500 people, and it was on a Saturday night, and it was great. There's applause breaks. The audience is eating it up and loving it. Sure. That Saturday night, I'm speed up to Wednesday night at San Manuel Casino at the Tucket Room, where you're performing for basically Middle Earth. and they were booing me off the stage. They were
no.
going, nah, 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 you saw. I mean,
Wow.
and I'm thinking, wait a second here. Saturday night, I was in this
Popping,
big
rocking it.
theater in
Yeah.
New York, and there was applause breaks, and they were listening. They were tax-paying people. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you're in
Tucket-
Highland, California, on a Wednesday night where they've just blown their load on the casino.
Sure. Not happy.
And now you're getting booed off the stage. And I
Wow.
sat there and I laughed.
That's great.
And the other comics asked me, they go, why'd you laugh? I go, how can you not laugh?
Yeah.
Because, and it's like, that's where part of your self-esteem and your confidence has to come into play. Because you can't sit there saying, well, I'm thinking, what Saturday night I did this.
Oh, I like
New York
this.
City.
I like this. Very good. I
And
dig
then
it, man.
Wednesday night, you're getting booed.
Yeah,
Ouch.
that
Yeah.
happens to me a lot because most of my shows, because I don't have any, TV credit to get
Right.
headlining spots, so most of my shows are like bars and stuff. And like, I'll give you an example. Last night I was at the Boiler Room, which is in Garden Grove.
Right,
And the owner and I was the host. It's a show that I host and stuff.
right.
So I have to get people's attention, and I'm bombing. And the owner, he's like, you bring really funny comedians, but you just suck. I was like,
Yeah,
He actually
thanks,
said that?
buddy.
Oh,
I was
my.
like-
Yeah,
Thanks.
you bring funny comedians, but you know what, Keith? You suck.
it was like, well, see, my style is very Stephen Wright. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's very hard because I can't yell at people to shut up. Like, that's not in me.
Right.
And another question that I had is, you're Greek, and I know a lot of your stand-up goes,
Talks about my heritage. Yeah.
And see, as you
great.
know, I have autism. I have Asperger's.
Right.
And 80% of my stand-up
That
is...
sounds Greek, by the way, Asperger's.
But 80% of my stand-up is talking about, having a social disorder.
Right.
And I sent my DVD that I filmed to a management, and they watched it, and they said, I can't represent you because no one wants to hear about autism for 45 minutes. Now, I just wanted to know your opinion about what about Greek? Like, do you ever
Well,
get that?
first of all, look, I think for them to say nobody wants to hear, who are these people to say
Yeah.
what we're supposed to talk about?
Thank
Exactly.
Have you heard of what comedians talk about?
Oh, my.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's the last bastion of true speech.
Thank you.
And I think for them, they're projecting at this point. They're saying, well, you got Asperger's, you got autism. It's very relevant in today's society. I champion you because you got enough
standing
guts
up.
to do it.
Yeah.
And instead of encouraging and saying, look, there's a lot of people that if you lead the way, will come out. I'm Greek. I didn't change my name. It's Tsarouchas. Nobody can.
Tsarouchas.
Pronounce
Surukas.
it.
We can.
So you guys can.
I feel bad because like I always say it right, but then when it's on a live show,
Live show, it's like
I
suddenly-
Tsarouchas. But you see, what I did, rather than get upset about it, I made a joke about it.
yeah,
And that's what comedians do. And the same thing, you're saying, look, I was born this way,
yeah,
but it doesn't mean you can't talk about it.
That's
I've
true.
worked with comedians with cerebral palsy. I've worked with comedians with MS. People who they had a show in Canada we did. It was for people on meds, which is pretty much the whole
I thought you said people.
comedy community.
I thought you said people on meth.
Meds.
Meds, so
or
that's-
meth.
oh,
What, we could probably do 2 shows on each one.
Yeah, no,
And I think that, especially, that's what you need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
People need to know. Because then what are you going to talk about?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
I talk about my heritage. I'm Cuban and Chinese, and I say that makes me Cubanese, but I'm not a communist.
See, he's a Cubanese. It's
Yeah,
funny,
the
and you got two
Cubans.
countries, the two most communist
Yeah,
countries and the
yeah,
two most
yeah.
capitalistic people you've ever. I've been to both countries.
Thank you. Oh,
Havana.
I haven't.
I've been to Havana and I've been to Shanghai. I did actually shows there. It's weird.
That's some stories
But
there.
it's 2 of my favorite
Yeah.
foods.
Oh,
right?
thank you. I grew up with good food.
So you know,
Great
Alan,
food.
when you're talking about being Cuban,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, the chicks are smoking hot in Cuba.
Oh, I thought
Smoking hot.
I want to go.
You have to
Wait,
go. Everybody
you're
should go to
you're
Havana
from
once.
Cuba and you've never been to Cuba?
No. I was
background.
born.
Oh, his
I was
background.
born
Background.
actually in New York City. I've told you, and I grew up in Texas with the horses.
Wow, so you're
And the
Cubanese,
Cowboys.
born in New York, grown up in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, there's your comedy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
Thank
saying.
you.
There's your
Thank you.
comedy. It's like people
Yeah,
can't
thank you.
figure out what's going on, and that's what
No,
I'm
they
saying.
can't.
When you talk about something like that, I think what happens is what they're saying to you, Keith, is that they're uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
But the audience is, I mean, look, listen to Jim Jeffries and listen to a lot of, Man, they're talking about Oscar Pistorius. Listen
Oh.
to Russell Peters.
Thank you.
He breaks all the barriers down.
All
Listen
the
to Louis
barriers.
C.K. My kids
Oh,
are assholes. right?
CK, all
They're-
of them.
I mean, those are the comedians, Nick DiPaolo and Jim Norton and Bill Burr.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, he's brilliant. He's not politically correct, but if you tell a comedian don't talk about something, guess what happens? That's
we
exactly.
talk about it.
I think
We
you're
talk about
shutting. I think they shut them down because, like, especially with Asperger's, you don't see social cues. So when they say I can't do it, it makes me question whether I'm funny or not. But then I think, you know what? My comedy hero is Norm Macdonald. He lets me open for him every now and then. He thinks I'm funny.
Yeah, and Norm's got something. We
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Yeah.
No, Norm's
Little-
brilliant.
He's a genius, but we don't know how to define. We can't even define each other.
Yeah, and Norm, look, I started off
Yeah.
in Canada
You
with
know
Norm
him. You know him very
Macdonald
well,
on
yeah.
amateur night
Yeah.
at Yuck Yucks in Ottawa.
Oh, yuck yucks.
And that's where we started.
Yuck
and
Yucks.
Jeremy Hotz, you know what amateur night was
yeah.
in Canada? Amateur night was Norm Macdonald, Jeremy Hotz, myself, and Tom Green.
Tom Green.
We're on the same shows. Tom came a bit later, but was doing some of them. Norm's brilliant. Jeremy's brilliant. You know, we have the Ottawa connection. That's where we grew up.
Cool.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, that's the whole thing about comedy. See, I made a joke about Norm. He's on something.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. That's not the point. The point is we were talking about people with disorders.
Yeah.
And when you really look at everybody, we've all got something.
Thank you.
Like, we've all got something.
definitely.
man. We all got something. I don't
Sure.
care what it is.
No.
First of all, comedians have addictive personalities.
Oh
That's
my
true.
God, true.
We're very addictive people. It's drugs, sex, food.
You know who I think
I'm glad he
has-
said that right here.
You know
and
who I
clearly
think has Asperger's is Fred. Because Fred's very quiet. And
Fred's quiet and introverted.
Yeah.
There's
he is.
Fred Stoller is. I think Freddie. Freddie is sweetest guy you've ever
Very
met, and one of
friendly.
the funniest guys I've
Oh,
ever met.
he's an excellent
But
stand-up.
you know, he's not comfortable sometimes in social settings.
Yeah.
and he's my friend, but that's. But you see, he takes that awkwardness and makes it funny.
It makes it funny.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, and that's what Fred does so well. And he's just so, and he's very, very brilliant minded. But I think the problem is we're in a world where people want you to articulate and look a certain way.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's going to sell. How many times have you seen somebody who's really attractive and they're doing stand up and it's shit? Can we say shit?
yeah.
Yo, this is a completely shit.
Shit. And they're shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're thinking,
Yeah.
well, you look good.
Yeah.
And you got the charisma, whatever it is.
Yeah, but
here's what you don't have.
I don't understand your humor.
Well, they're not funny.
They're not funny. Well, that's probably
They're
a
not
big problem
funny,
right
so
there.
the guy's up there sucking it for 25 minutes, and they're such narcissists. Oh, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Thank you. That's a great insight.
No, do you know Brian Scalaro?
Yeah, sure. I know Brian
Yeah.
Scalaro. Sure.
He told me that, because I've seen Brian bomb several times, but I've seen him kill.
Yeah, he
and
killed.
and he tells me after his shows when he bombs, he's like, you know what? I believe in myself and I believe in my jokes. I know I'm funny. This audience isn't.
Yeah, he's right.
So, I think comedy, there's no rule on how to be funny or not funny.
Absolutely
Well,
not.
nobody's
Yeah.
written. Look, you read Seinfeld's book. He says he takes a couple hours a day. He's disciplined, and he can. So he's the kind of guy that can sit down and write jokes.
Yeah.
I work with Russell Peters all around the world. Russell doesn't sit down and write jokes. Russell gets on the stage and writes them in the stage, keeps them in his head.
There was a question I had about Russell Peters because I know this because we're friends, but I also know because of Google that, I've known you done shows with Russell, but I also know that you got accepted the Last Comic Standing
Right.
and you didn't do it.
Yeah, that was. Here's what happened. Ironically,
Yeah.
I was. My manager said, "We got an audition for you to go to John Lovett's club for Last Comic." I'm better known in the world. In America, I had a Showtime special and I got some good, but still not household.
Yeah.
And what happened was I auditioned for them and they liked me. And Wanda Sykes, they said, "We want to do this thing for you." And I said, "Sure." I was working with Russell. Russell's been my best friend forever. And I was working with Russell in Florida. And I told Russell, "Hey, look what happened. I got on Last Comic Standing." He goes, "That's cool." By the end of the week, Russell gets a call from NBC. They wanted him to be a judge.
Yeah.
So I got it before him. And then Russell says, but he wasn't sure if he was going to do it or not at that point. This was like in January. What happened was they came and filmed my family. I was ready to go on it, and I was, I thought this is great. I get the exposure. I tour with Vince Vaughn's Wild West Comedy Show. I'm in a full development deal with Vince Vaughn's company for a sitcom show with the network.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, this is where the business part of it comes in. What happened is that if you do a show like Last Comic Standing, you're signing an 18-month exclusivity clause, which means whatever you're doing, and NBC and the network has first choice over your what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I couldn't sign that. And I called Steve Byrne and Bill Burr, who are friends, and I asked for advice. I talked to them. I wanted to do the show because I knew being on television in America is always a good thing, prime time. And what happened, Bill Burr said a good thing to me, and so did Steve. He goes, look, you go on a show like Last Comic Standing to get a development deal because you have one.
Yeah. So
I said to them on the Friday, look, I can't do it. When you say no in LA, it's a powerful thing. What do you mean you can't do it?
Yeah,
that's right.
I said I can't do it because we're in full development with Vince Vaughn. I mean, he's one of the biggest stars in the world, and I tour with him, with Bill Burr and Steve Byrne, and we do shows with Vince.
Yeah,
and it's such a privilege for me to work with guys like that. So I said, look, I respectfully say no. And they thought, what? Every comic would give their left nut to be on the show, and you're saying no to us.
Yeah.
And what happened was on Monday, I had to go do a cruise gig.
Yeah.
I left. I was having problems with my phone. NBC changed their mind about the exclusivity. They said, we'll take it out.
Oh,
what?
So I
wow.
did the show. I was already gone, and they called my wife.
So.
And I got to Bahamas. My phone's not working.
Oh, no.
I don't know what it was. There was something wrong with this stupid Nexus 5 Google piece of shit phone. I'll say it right now.
Goodbye, Nexus.
And then I managed to get a text out to my wife to tell her I'm okay at the ship, and I'll call you when I get a chance. Sure. As we're leaving the port from Bahamas, Keith, my phone starts bing, 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 bing. It caught a signal. And I could see all the messages. Give us a call. They changed their mind. All these things.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I couldn't get off the ship. And, my manager's like, tell me you're sick.
Wow.
Tell me you got something,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a gig.
Sure.
But what happened was I was prepared to do it. And I would have loved to have done it.
I think you could have, honestly, I tweeted the show, and I pissed a lot.
They had me on the list still.
Yeah.
I was still on the list
And
as
you
the
saw
comedians.
this as the cruise ship is pulling away.
My phone starts catching a signal. Like it's like written in a movie, Alan.
That's what I'm about to
It's
say.
like those movies.
I said
where,
it's a scene.
There's the lottery numbers. I threw the ticket away.
That's a scene.
But see, when I found out you didn't do it, because I found out because I was tweeting the live
We
show,
didn't know the story.
and I pissed a lot of comics off because I was just making jokes, tweets, and stuff. And I thought from the very beginning, I actually called the top 4. I thought Rocky Laborte was going to win the whole thing.
Yeah, Rocky's great.
Yeah, but I really think if you were in it, you could have easily been top 5, if not take the whole thing.
Well, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
I think I really had a good opportunity with it, and it's not that I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But you see,
It's just.
I've been in LA for 8 years, right?
Yeah.
The two things, I set a goal for myself. I wanted to do 3 things when I moved to Los Angeles. I wanted to do a 1-hour comedy special.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a movie. And I wanted to be in a sitcom.
Nice.
Well, you've done all those.
I got the 1 hour.
done it.
I got the 1 hour comedy special in Showtime. I made Fred and Vinny, which I got to play Vinny, the lead role in a Hollywood film.
Number 2.
And the third thing was a sitcom.
Bingo.
And then here I am set up for it. But
There you
you can't let, when you're in a situation where you've been working on it for 2 years, you have to weigh your options out. You hedge your bets. I mean, you realize that as a stand-up, it's a good move to do Last Comic. You could get voted off the first episode.
Yeah,
And you
but
could still get millions
you
of
could
fans.
still
by
get
You
that.
still get a
fans.
lot of people who watch you and
Yeah.
say, I like this guy.
Sure.
But on the other hand, I've got this whole deal
With Vince.
with Vince
Beautiful.
Vaughn.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Like
Nice.
comics are looking at me going, man, you've got this deal with Vince Vaughn. I mean,
Nice. Yeah.
I got a Vince Vaughn story for you. Because he was hanging out with Steve What?
Steve Byrne?
Byrne.
Yeah, 'cause
Steve Byrne.
Vince is executive producer
Yeah.
of Sullivan and Son.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
oh,
Peter
that's right.
Billingsley,
There
and
you
that's
go.
a great show. I was on that show.
Yeah, I know.
I guest starred on that show too. Ahmed and Roy Wood Jr. and Owen Benjamin.
Wow,
all
that's-
great
what a-
comedians.
what a
It's a great
cast.
show.
Brian was on it for a while as
Yeah,
well.
Brian Scalera was on
Yeah.
it. It's on TBS
Yeah.
for people
Nice.
listening. And it's a really funny show. I got to do their pilot.
Yeah.
I did 2 episodes with those guys.
But my uncle, he's not my blood related uncle, but
Right.
he's like my adopted uncle, is Patrick Warburton.
Oh, okay, I know that name.
Yeah, he's Family Guy, Rules of
Right,
Engagement.
of course.
So every year he does a golf tournament, And I remember I was at the Hollywood Improv, and this was 2 nights before the roast of the Charlie Sheen. So all
Right.
the roasters were coming in practicing sets, and I had to go after Amy Schumer and all these
Wow.
guys. Vince Vaughn's in the bar, right? And I have Asperger's, and I'm so awkward. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, you know what? Vince Vaughn would be a pretty cool name to play golf at this tournament, So I go up to him, and I was like, "Do you play golf?" And he just looks at me. He's like, "No."
That's funny. Hey, you play golf? He's like, what? That's funny.
Yeah. So
like have seen
the way he did it, it was like he was like, "Why is he asking
He
me?"
was asking me about it.
Yeah.
That's
And I
funny.
didn't get a chance to tell him. He just walked off with Steve. I was like, "Oh."
That must have
Yeah.
been a little strange.
Yeah, it
That's
was very
funny.
because
No, they're great guys, man.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
big hockey fans. We have a lot in common, and the story's funny. But the thing, the thing is, Keith, is that 8 years in LA, and in 1 week, the 2 things I wanted to do the most came down to a decision.
That's fantastic, isn't that?
So
It's
good.
amazing.
It's good, Alan. But as a comic, you wanted
To
one thing that happened
just-
2 years earlier and one thing that happened 2 years later.
Yeah.
But ask any actor in LA. You want to book a gig, book a trip. Every time you book a trip,
Something happens.
I'll give you another story
Wow,
since we're
that's
talking
funny.
about this. I'm leaving to do shows 2 weeks ago. I'm leaving to do shows in Canada. We did shows. A comic named Frank Spadone. We do these shows, Italian Greek shows called Una Fazza, Una Razza, One Face, One Race, and we're doing Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. They're sold out
Yeah.
in Canada. Sold out shows.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
in LA, Keith, for 7 weeks, and no calls from my theatrical agent, no calls from nobody.
Nada.
Hanging out with my family, it's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you have a daughter now.
I have a daughter, my daughter Olivia,
Yeah.
and my wife. 2 days before I'm going to leave, I get a call from my agent. 2 days. He goes, yeah, there's.
Yeah.
He goes, I saw you booked out for next week for this next week.
Yeah,
I go,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, I go, what? He goes, well, I got a call from these producers of this new show,
Yes.
and they liked your comedy. They want you to come on and audition for them. But he goes, we didn't submit you. They called for you. And I'm like, I don't think I should tell you who they are. And I'm like, okay, now I'm like, okay, you gotta fucking tell me who is it? And he goes, look, it was Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan. They have a new show called Better Call Saul. It's the guys from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And it was a recurring role.
cool.
And you want to bang your head through the wall
Yeah.
because it's like, this is a game changer. A lot of big comics
Sure.
like Lavelle Crawford and
Great-
Mike Battaglia has
great
been on
deal.
it. Bill Burr, they love comics
Sure.
on that show.
Sure.
But for me, it was like, what a great opportunity. But I've been waiting for 2 months. I've had no gigs. I got these shows that we're doing now in Canada sold out.
Bingo,
Only
they're
3
done.
days. I said,
yeah.
can we do it right after? I'll leave Toronto and I'll come. No, they want you in New Mexico.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. So every performer, anybody in the industry will have a fish that got away story. I've had like
A lot of
catch,
fish.
a
a bunch
whole-
of
gone
fish
away.
that have
Yeah.
gone away this year. It's been that kind of a year. But usually you're always
Yeah,
hoping, Alan,
that
for a
you will
better thing.
Catch that one, cast that out
Well,
there.
see,
and-
the thing with me
That's
is
a great
like,
story.
The thing
Like
with
that.
me is like I want to do sitcoms and movies and stuff, but the thing is I hate auditions because a lot of people make me nervous. And when you do the cattle calls and stuff, you're surrounded, and you're like, can I just get a private? Same with when I auditioned for America's Got Talent, if you do it in front of a room, you get people to laugh. But if you do it one-on-one, then the producer will say, okay, I have an idea of who you are.
Right.
Well, Angelo has all this experience on both sides of the line there. That's
I
what-
know,
That's,
and
what's
this is
fascinating
why-
about it.
That's why you're
Like
kind of.
he was on Mad Men.
But it fuses on. Yeah, Mad Men was great.
Shoot.
I remember getting on Mad Men. I remember Matt Weiner
yeah.
being in the room, and it was like so funny. And I saw actors down at Central Studios in L.A. and guys you've seen on TV all the time, guys in action films.
Sure.
And there's got to be about 70 or 80 guys going for this role.
Sure.
And then I go in and I walk in the room. And the guy looks at me and goes, "You're the guy. You're the guy. Do me a favor. Do the lines. I'll give you this part."
That's
And I've never
great,
heard that
yeah.
at a casting. And
That's
I went
fantastic.
inside and I did this thing because it was 1960s New York.
Yeah.
I'm a white bouncer, kind of Italian looking. I realized that's the year they got nominated for the Golden Globes. And they used our scene as the one on MSNBC where they were
Nice.
showing it on. And I went in and I did it. And the guy goes, "Excellent." Now, they don't give it to the spot. By the time I could get to my car in the parking lot, my agent called and said, "You're booked."
Oh man.
And that was
sweet.
And that's what I'm saying. To this day, I still got people who will say, "Hey man, I saw you," because they watch the box sets or DVR. "I saw you on Mad Men."
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
It gives you a little bit of a cash. I did Blue Mountain State, which I still haven't seen it. I did after the Just for Laughs festival. I auditioned for this. Once again, it's a quirky role about a guy in a bar, and I've had all my friends. It's a younger demographic that watches
Yeah.
Blue Mountain State.
Yeah.
People go, "Hey man, I saw you on BMS," and I'm like, "What's BMS?"
Did he have his?
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm fat. It sounded like BMP.
I would think
like
it's
a sub at
PPS.
Subway or something.
That's a reality
Yeah,
show.
I thought it was is that a
Yeah.
network? No, man, Blue Mountain State. And I forgot about it.
wow.
I said, "Yeah, that's great." He goes,
Wow.
"Have you seen the show?" I said, "Honestly, I haven't seen it."
That's cool. You just haven't
So
caught
yeah,
up.
I mean, you just do it. I mean,
How cool is that?
It's nice. I mean, I
Nice,
don't want to sound like I'm not
No, no.
concerned
Yeah, no,
about it. It just kind of like happens, but that's what happens. You got to take the good with the bad,
bad.
and you get opportunities, and you want to be able to capitalize on.
But then they,
Well, see,
they get trumped.
The thing that
Yes.
the thing that I love about you is you're always, whether it's movies or sitcoms or whatever, you're always busy, and that's
The secret, you
Yeah.
try to keep busy.
yeah. But
You know-
for example, whenever I'm at the Improv or I'm at a comedy club and I have a spot to do a guest set, I'll call you and you'll be
Yeah.
like, I'm out of town.
I'm out of town. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
usually working on something.
So-
Well, right now it's right now we just completed for the first time. I did a 1 hour 1 hour plus comedy special in Athens, Greece.
Nice.
Never been done before. And what we
sweet.
did, it's part of a documentary. The documentary is called Back to Sparta,
Yeah.
which it's on YouTube now, and it's about basically my father died of Alzheimer's. And before my father died, he said to me when he was still able to communicate, "Why don't you ever go to Greece and do a show? You've worked all around the world. You've never gone to Greece." And that kind of, my father died in 1998, and it kind of stayed with when something stays with
It
you.
lingers and it's
Yeah.
in you. And
And then
yeah.
a great filmmaker in Toronto, George Tsarouchas, was like, he was chronicling my life. My life changed at 35. I got divorced. I ended up in jail from a bad marriage. I was broke. I went to Toronto. I started my life over again. It's about starting over again. And then we got the idea, and I said to George, wouldn't it be nice if we went to Greece to do a show to see if we could do it?
Sure.
And at the same time, during the worst austerity and it's the worst economic crisis Greece has ever had in their history. I speak fluent Greek.
Yeah.
So we went there. we did this show. We set it up. We didn't know if this was going to work because I'm not from there. So through social media and balls, we went in and said we started doing it. Then the newspapers picked up the articles. We ended up selling about 700 tickets sold out. We donated all the money to local charities in Athens.
Wow.
And we shot the special, which looks phenomenal. And now they're editing so it's a two-part thing. It's a 1 hour comedy special,
And then
and then it's the documentary
wow.
of how I got there and how my father,
That's
like
cool.
you said, you're Cubanese, you're Cuban Chinese, I'm Greek. Keith is something, I don't know what he is. He's American.
nice white
no,
guy.
But the thing is that it's like poor Keith is like he's something, I don't know what he is. He's from a planet. No, but you know what's funny?
Planet Asperger.
But you know what's funny? What's funny about that is that I took a chance. I've had a lot of comedians call me going, "Look, I saw the trailer. The trailer's great." And it's the other side of the mountain for comics because I'm tracing my family's roots and the origin of the documentary is you don't know who you are until you know where you're from.
That's fantastic. I love that.
You know, and that's
Yeah.
and so it's being made right now. So there's all kinds of stuff. There is a lot of. I'm impatient. You know me, Keith. I'm the kind of guy who likes to work and do things. And I think anybody, if you have a vested interest in your career, you need to work at it. And I do it every day. Whether it's writing jokes or being part of doing shows or trying to get the sitcom off the ground, which I got my fingers crossed they're going to accept it. Or doing a movie,
dude.
And I got another Christmas movie.
Yeah,
Coming out,
you finished that. I thought
We
I read
finished
that you
one,
just
and they
finished
were
that.
ready to go. Christmas with the
Beautiful.
Carunzo says.
That's
And it's another thing. So there's all these little things going on. I have this other pilot thing we're working on in Canada. So
You've
it
got
takes
stuff
a lot of work.
cooking.
I have a family, so I want to play with my daughter and
That's great.
hang out with my
Family
wife
on
too.
top of that, man. I mean,
Well,
a lot of
see-
comics are out there just like me, single and alone.
Single and alone, and and all that.
Well,
And it's so when you're out, you try to get in, and when you're in, you
try to get out.
Well, see, Angelo, the thing is I'm very about if people is a good person or not, and I've always thought, and I still do with all my heart, I know you're a good person, so I know.
Are you sure about
Are
that?
you sure
Yeah.
about that?
You know, no, but I think it is.
So I
when he
know
called me up,
everything's coming down.
well,
for
I'll say this about you: is you have tenacity, and you called me up. You said, "I'm going to do this thing. How would you feel about it?" And there's just something about the way you asked me, and I said, "Sure."
Wow.
it. Yeah.
You know,
thank
Keith,
you.
I can't
That's
say
great.
I can't say I say yes to everybody because I
Yeah.
don't.
We
It's
were
hard
we
to-
are aware of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. But
So
Keith
glad
says,
to
"I'm
have
gonna do
you."
this thing."
Yeah.
No, it's my pleasure, and I'm honored that you guys thought of me first to be the guinea pig for the experiment. No, but this is great. This is a great setup. This is a good show.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is that you know, I look at world politics. I respect family. I respect religion. I respect people's opinions.
Thank you.
And the thing is that a lot of people say, "What's your opinion on this?" Well, here's my theory on that. If you want my opinion, you have to accept it.
Yeah.
The same way I got to accept yours.
Thank
There's
you.
too many people that say, "Oh, I don't agree with that." Well, why did you ask me?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where you get stand-up comedy. People will say, "I loved your stuff." People say, "I think you went over the line." Some people say, "I wouldn't have done that." Well, that's you.
That's you.
I don't-
Thank you.
I don't think
That's
in
a
comedy
great
there's
thing
anything
to say.
called over the line, though.
No.
Well, but
Like,
sometimes
the,
people
the question I
will.
wanted to ask you is, do you think comedy is subjective?
Well,
That's
that's a
hard one.
That's a hard one. I mean, it depends on the point of view.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I mean, it's subjective to the point of. How do I explain that? That's a very good question.
If
Well, see,
if
can I
Angelo sees something funny, then
Yeah, I mean,
how does that work?
Can I explain my thoughts on it?
sure. Tell me.
Okay, I don't believe comedy is subjective. I think what's funny is everyone, like for example, if 3 dogs are playing poker, okay,
Right.
the audience thinks it's funny because dogs are playing poker. But if a dog actually plays poker, the dog doesn't think it's funny.
Funny, right?
So the
That's-
dog will think it's funny if
yeah.
one of the dogs, says meow.
Right.
There's-
Then the dog
you
would
know,
just
it's-
burst
why
out
is-
laughing.
Yeah, I
it's
see
like-
where you're going. And how do they hold the cards with their paws? Is what I want to know.
Exactly.
They insert them in their little paws and they
So-
cut their hands.
So I don't think comedy is subjective. I think, however, humor is subjective.
Right.
So I think-
that's,
Yeah,
that's a good way of
okay.
dividing it.
That's
I
a-
like that.
That's a really
So because
yeah.
I think everyone has different types of humor,
yeah.
but I think comedy overall, what's funny is it's going to be funny to everybody, but in a different light.
Thank you.
Well, I agree, and that's how many times have you seen somebody? I know I've been at shows where I'm laughing and nobody else is laughing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I didn't get it. You know,
Yeah.
I thought the guy was
yeah.
hilarious.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's like, and the other problem too now with technology is that people just don't listen. That's a big problem, I think, now for comedy.
I think
How many
so.
people sit in the audience and they're messaging or Facebooking or Twittering or wherever the hell they're doing? I'm like,
Exactly.
why
Yeah.
were you doing this at a live comedy show?
Yeah. That's,
Eddie Pepitone started screaming. You know Eddie Pepitone?
Yeah, yeah.
He started screaming. You could see it at someone who had pulled out their texting,
Right, at the show.
Yeah, it was hilarious because he said, I'm trying to tell you something.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, I'm trying to verbally
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
I'm on DVR. I'm not on
Yeah.
TV. I'm here, and you're texting. But people have this addiction. See, there's a good addiction, and and a lot of comedians talk about this, and that's it's subjective in a sense where how does it affect your life?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, some people, to me, it's like, look, you ever notice people at a Starbucks or anywhere, they're just
please.
looking at their phone the whole time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you that important? But for me, are you that important?
Yeah. It's like you're not.
That many people are calling you?
Yeah.
What are you, 14?
Exactly.
What the hell? I mean, I don't even, I
like
hate the phone.
you're not
Besides
Brad
my
Pitt.
agent who never calls or manager who never calls.
Yeah.
And my wife who always calls. I mean, I always love when these people are like sitting around and they're look at this new app. Like, shove the app up your ass. I don't care. I'm right here. I'm talking to you live.
That's very fun.
It's so funny because I think it's one of those things that, but like you said, that's what gives us our fodder, our material.
Our material. It's all the craziness and the kooky all behavior that we see.
Because listen, if you point that out to people, they maybe don't want to laugh at it, but they have to.
They have to.
Because you're calling them on it.
You're calling them on it. Thank
You're
you.
like, what's with it? Like I do this one joke, which it's so funny. It wrote itself. My friend sent me a text that said, "Call me," and I text him back, "Okay." Like, what's wrong with this? Why are you texting me to call you? Why am I texting you to confirm?
That's good. See, that's a great.
See,
joke.
it's so simple.
That's
But
very
it's
good.
so when I do that joke, people laugh. They go, "It's true.
Sure.
I've done that."
Sure.
Hey, Keith, call me. Okay. When's a good time?
I did.
Why don't you just?
I've done.
Call
I just
me?
realized I did that.
Speaking of jokes, we're running out of time, and I want to
Okay.
play
God,
this.
this is
it's
we're
going by
fun.
fast. I want to play this thing called Who Wrote Jokes.
Oh boy.
And I want to test your joke knowledge.
Well, whatever. All the answers are Carlos Mencia. all the answers are Carlos Mencia. Whatever you ask me,
Oh my
Carlos
God!
Mencia's
Oh,
done
that's
it.
good. That's good. That's good.
But no, we Alan and I made bets in the car on how many you would get right. There's
Let's see.
25. I said you'll
25.
get 15.
All right, let's see. Let's see if I'm
I
that good.
gave him a very high
Okay.
score.
So
I don't
first
know if I
one.
know them. Okay.
How many actors does it take to change a light bulb? 100. 1 to change the bulb and 99 to say, I could have done that.
Okay.
Mitch Hedberg, David Letterman, Norm Crosby, Emo Phillips.
Oh, I mean, I've heard that joke.
Yeah.
On that one, I have to say, it kind of sounds like a Mitch Hedberg joke, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's Norm Crosby.
He got it right. Oh my
way
God.
to
Norm Crosby,
go,
yeah, Norm
Angelo.
Crosby.
I went with head.
Whenever he gets it right, I'm taking it off so the next guest can't
Norm
get it.
Crosby.
Very
right.
good.
Second
told you.
joke. My uncle was thrown out of a mime show for having a seizure. They thought he was heckling. A. Vince Champ. B. Fred Stoller. C. Jeff Shaw. D. Eddie Murphy.
That's a Fred Stoller joke.
You are wrong.
Oh, wrong.
Jeff Shaw.
Jeff Shaw.
Jeff Shaw.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
It sounded like a Fred
It
Stoller
certainly
joke.
did.
Yeah.
That's a close one.
Shakespeare said, kill all the lawyers. That's before they were agents. Was it A. Robin Williams, B. Billy Crystal, C. Whoopi Goldberg, or D. Jason Alexander?
Whoopi, Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, Billy Crystal.
Wrong. It was
Robin
Williams.
Williams. I was going to say
I
Robin
said
Williams.
Billy Crystal.
I was going to say I said Robin. It sounds like a Billy Crystal.
It doesn't it though?
Oh, for 1 for 5 now. Let's go.
No, 1 from 3. But I still said you'll get 15.
Let's. Okay.
So-
Big expectations.
Okay, naps are wonderful, aren't they? Sometimes I have to take a nap just to get ready for bed. A. Roseanne, B. Joan Rivers, C. Marcia Walford, or D. Jan Hooks.
Oh wow, you're making it tough. I'm going to say Roseanne Barr.
It was
Marcia Warfield.
Yeah.
I got to go to the second one.
Really hard.
I thought Marcia Warfield. I said no. It's got to be her or Roseanne. So
Yeah.
I went with Joan Rivers.
Okay, you'll get this one, Angela.
let's see.
All right. I was born in 1962. True. The room next to me was 1963. A. Steve Martin. B. Betty White. C. Joan Rivers. Or D. Sarah Silverman.
I know this joke, man. Who that? Martin?
No.
No, I mean no. I'm just thinking Martin Silverman. It's Joan Rivers and who's the other one? It's
Betty
Joan
and
Rivers.
Betty
It's
White.
Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers.
Bingo.
You
Joan
got-
Rivers.
There you
I
go.
was gonna say I'll give you a hint. They're dead.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, that's Joan Rivers.
All right. You'll get this one too. How many of these dead animals you see on the highway are considered suicides? A. Drake Sather, B. Fred Stoller, C. David Spade, or D. Dennis Miller?
Dennis Miller.
Yeah.
Bingo.
It's Dennis Miller.
He's 2 from 2.
There you
That's
go.
good, yeah. Dennis Miller.
Oh, I miss him, man. He
He's
was
funny, man.
great
He's a
stand.
Republican now or
Yeah,
something.
big Republican.
Okay. I gave my cat a bath the other day. He sat there. He enjoyed it. It was fun for me. The fur would stick in my tongue, but other than that, it was fun. A. Tommy Chong, B. Norm Macdonald, C. Steve Martin, or D. Billy Crystal?
I got to say Tommy Chong on this one. Is that Norm?
No.
Really?
Steve Martin.
Steve
It's
Martin?
Steve Martin.
Ah.
That's a.
Wow.
That was
sounds
a.
like a Tommy Chong
Doesn't
kind
it
of a
though?
stoner joke,
Is
doesn't
it? Doesn't it though? I could.
Yeah.
You know what we should do is what joke belongs to who is what we
We
should
should
do.
do,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's funny. Oh, this is good. This is good.
Okay. I bought an ant farm. I don't know where I'm going to find a tractor that small. A. Emo Phillips, B. Warren Thomas, C. Chris Rock, or D. Stephen Wright?
Wow. Okay, I got it down. I'll tell you what. I got it down to Emo or Steve.
Okay.
I'm gonna
okay.
have to say Steve Wright.
Bingo.
You got it.
Yeah, it's Steve
That's we
Wright.
both
That's
got
Steve
that
Wright.
one. Yes.
Got-
Very good.
All right. Looking at their new baby, the mother said, "These are tiny arms. He'll never be a boxer. These are tiny legs. He'll never be a runner." The father looked at the baby and said, "He'll never be a porn star either." A. Leno, B. Letterman, C. Jack Carter, or D. Bob Hope?
Leno.
Wrong. It was Bob Hope.
Bob Hope
Oh,
said that.
Yeah.
Bob Hope said that.
This
He's
one's,
been dead for 50 years or
that's
something.
right.
But-
Bob Hope said that.
but he's
Really?
one of the greatest.
Yeah, he is. I love
Okay.
Bob
He
Hope.
wasn't he? Though?
Yes.
Here's another one. This one's easy, I think. My hair is my own. I paid for it. I own it. A. Jack Carter, B. Freddie Prince, C. Carl Reiner, or D. Fred Allen?
My hair is my own. I paid for it. I have to say Carl Reiner
You got it.
You got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Bam.
for a bald guy for sure.
Good. They're throwing Jack Carter, and that's tough.
Jack
They throw
Carter. What the hell? What is this? This
It's
guy,
his
was
history.
it Gracie Allen, George Burns? Wait. Comedy trivia from 100 years ago, Keith? What the hell, man?
He's not kidding around.
Was it George? George.
Wait a minute.
George Washington.
Washington.
Jefferson, Washington.
Benjamin
Who said
Franklin.
this?
Well, we only got 5 minutes. I want you to get 15.
Okay, it's
Oh,
good.
So Alan could buy us a dinner.
Okay.
That's
I said if he gets 15, Alan's buying dinner. Okay. I was born by C-section. This was the last time I had my mom's complete attention. A. Richard Jenney, B. Robin Williams, C. Rodney Dangerfield, or D. Dennis Miller.
Richard Jenney.
All right.
oh, bam.
Boom.
Richard Jenney.
Very good.
Funny guy, man.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
He
Richard.
was great.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
What did Norm say? I like to call him the biggest hack in the world.
Oh no.
I just got out of the hospital. I was in a speed reading contest. I hit a bookmark. A. Stephen Wright, B. Fred Stoller, C. Lisa Lepinelli, or D. Richard Jenney.
That's got Stephen Wright written all
Oh,
over it.
Yeah.
Stephen Wright.
See, I got that one too.
All right, this one you have to get, Angelo.
Okay.
Why pay $1 for a bookmark? Why not just use the dollar as a bookmark? A. Dennis Miller, B. Fred Stoller, D. David Spade, or C. Drake Sather.
That's Fred Stoller.
Yeah.
That's Freddie
Wow,
Stoller.
Nice.
It
Nice.
sounds like Fred, actually.
Stoller.
Why
I
use
missed
a
that one.
bookmark when you can use the dollar?
That's one of my favorite jokes of his. Have you ever noticed anyone driving faster than you is an idiot and anyone driving slower than you is a moron? A. Robert Schummel, B. David Spade, C. George Carlin, or D. Steve Allen?
Wow, that's a general joke. That's it sounds like a Robert Schimmel joke, but I would have to go with the last one, Allen.
Nope. George Carlin.
George Carlin.
That was
huh?
hard. I had between Carlin and Schimmel. I was
Schimmel. I thought
like
Robert
going
Schimmel.
back
man,
and
that was
forth.
funny, yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, why do they call it rush hour when nothing moves? A. Robin Williams, B. Chris Tucker, C. Martin Lawrence, or D. Billy Crystal?
Now it's funny because you said Rush Hour, and Chris Tucker does those Rush Hour movies, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that's one of those jokes that throws you off.
Chris Tucker, Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, and who else?
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
I didn't see that in that one. I didn't see Robin Williams saying that.
You're making me look bad, Angelo.
Yeah.
All right, I think crime pays. The hours are good and you travel a lot. A. Emo Phillips. B. Woody Allen. C. Michael Keaton. Or D. Stephen Wright.
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Bam.
So Woody Allen. That's Woody Allen.
Yeah. Did you know Michael
Very
Keaton did
good.
stand up?
Yeah.
He
Was originally at the Michael Keaton was at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
His name's on the wall. When
Yeah,
you
his
go
name's
there.
on the wall. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
People forget.
This is probably my favorite joke ever.
Okay.
So, yesterday I was shaving and I cut my Adam's apple. I got apple juice everywhere.
This is so weird.
A. Drake Sather. B. Super Dave Osborne. C. Jack Carter. Or D. Bob Hope.
I threw Jack Carter in there again. It's not Jack Carter.
It's not Jack
They're
Carter.
gonna forget
Super Dave.
No, it was Drake.
Drake.
Yeah. Do you remember Drake Sather?
No.
Oh, he was a great comic.
I remember him. That's why I don't know
Yeah.
the joke.
Yeah, he committed suicide.
Oh, you
But,
are you
That's
really
why. That's
another
why he
one?
cut his Adam's apple.
Yeah.
That kind of has a weird
Double entendre on that joke, Dickie.
No, but Drake Sather was one of the best comics.
Wow.
Okay, you'll get this one.
Okay.
Ever see a homeless person with a dog? The dog is probably like, "Hey, I'm on the longest walk of my life here." A. Norm Macdonald. B. Freddie Prince. C. Fred Wolf. D. Fred Willard.
I gotta say Norm Macdonald.
You got it.
That's a Norm joke, man, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, we have 2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes. We got 2 minutes on the rush here. Okay, all the rest of them, Carl's Mencia.
We're in the trophy shop, and there's trophies everywhere. Shelves and shelves of trophies. My dad looks around and says, "This guy's really good." A. Richard Jenney. B. Robin Williams. C. Fred Wolf. Or D. Dennis Miller.
Wolf.
You got it.
Bingo.
That's
Very
Wolf.
good.
All
I
right.
didn't get that one. Very good.
I don't think we could get all of these. We'll do one more.
Let's do one more.
All
Say
right.
goodnight.
And I think this one is one of your
Angel's
favorite
the
comics
champion.
as well, so
Okay.
it's a free one.
Let's see.
John Goodman isn't fat. He's in the category beyond fat. What does one call it? Well, like A. Whoopi Goldberg. C. Joan Rivers. B. Sam Kinison. Or D. Joe Coy.
Wow. I've worked with Joe Coy. I've never seen Joe do that joke. And it's I don't know if it's a Kinnison joke. It is Kinnison.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got it.
He's one of my faves. It's Sam
Me
Kinison.
He is.
Sam Kinison.
Me too.
So let's count
How many do we get here? I don't know.
We started a little late.
Yeah. So we were talking. We had a
One.
good conversation going.
But yeah.
Angelo did very
Two.
well.
So it's
did,
good.
Three.
did better than me, Angelo.
Next time we should do the top 10 jokes,
Five.
Keith.
6.
What the hell
Seven.
is it? In 1931,
Eight.
when the
9.
Hindenburg crashed.
10.
The beginning
11,
of the
12.
Depression.
He got 12 right, and we still had 7. So you definitely would have got 3 of
Well,
them.
I think so. 12's not bad.
12 is
Wow.
great, man.
That's all right, man.
Well,
That's good.
we got to go, but Angelo, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Where can people follow you on Twitter?
They can
And,
follow
Yes,
me on
and,
Twitter at Tsarouch, at
sir.
ANGTSAROUCH, or go to funnygreek.com, not geek, Greek, funnygreek.com, and that's where you can find me.
now, do you have any
Anything
shows coming up
you
that
plug,
we want
you want to plug anything?
Let me see
Angelo?
here. I
Go
don't
for
watch
it.
last week because we're too late for. I'm going to New York this week
Yeah.
to do its fundraiser show, and I'm going Moncton, New Brunswick, and then I'm going to Barbados. So no, nothing around here.
Nothing around, so just follow you on
Keep in
Twitter.
mind, I'm always at the Laugh Factory, so I probably have some shows coming up.
Oh,
soon,
great.
Either in Long
Great.
Beach or at or over here in Hollywood.
Beautiful.
Next time you're in Long
Sounds-
Beach, call me and I'll
I will.
support you.
I will
We will
definitely
be
call
there.
you guys.
All
Come
right.
and hang. We'll hang out as a comic. Let's come and hang.
We'll bring our podcast.
And if you
want
want to follow Alan Lee, you could follow Alan at where on Twitter?
Alan Lee Kami.
That's a good name, Alan Lee. See that name, Alan Lee? People go, oh, I know
Thank
that
you.
name. Angelo Tsarouchas. Oh, fuck this. We're not going to follow that guy.
Angelo Tsarouchas.
Wow, this was a blast. Our first podcast
awesome,
here, and I
Angelo.
just this was a blast, man.
Well, we gotta go.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me on
Thank
your
you.
show.
Thanks,
sir.
man. We're gonna have you again on season 2 if it wasn't so bad.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys,
there's
so
a
much.
season
Follow
2.
us on
Thank
Twitter.
you.
I'm Keith Reza at Keith Reza on Twitter. Thank
And
you
I
guys
am-
so much, and have a great day.
Good night.
Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.